This is the Experienced Optimist, and today I want to talk about the biggest mistake that men make when dealing with women. And I make this mistake often as well because I try to convince myself if there's just something I can do to bring this woman onto my side, to get her to commit to me more, get her to love me more, to get her to appreciate me more. But the one thing, sometimes I don't realize, the mistake I make and most men make, is that you can't turn a shady friend into a real friend, no matter how hard you try. And if you see my other video titled that women are the shady friends in every relationship, I think I'm going to put a link down in the description box. I explain how women are the fair weather friends, the people who are with you when things are good and when you can do something for them. But ultimately, when there's nothing more that they can get from you, they will leave you. And the thing about the shady friend and wanting to turn a shady friend into a real friend is that what will happen is that you realize that that person has some good qualities. And women, generally, it's their beauty and they're intelligent and they can be loving and they can be caring. And the same thing for the shady friend. You realize that the person may have a good work ethic in some cases, may be kind and gentle in other, they may possess those qualities as well. But then ultimately, because they are a shady friend, they can never be a true blue friend. They can never be a person that really genuinely cares about you and will stick with you through the highs and lows of life. And that's how you have to look at women. Some people say that women are born shady and that's just in their nature. I'm not sure. To be honest, I think that maybe that might be true at this point in my life. Or other men say that it's indoctrination. The environment creates the women. And the reason why they act like that is because for centuries they've been allowed to be narcissistic and use a man for his resources, and that's it. But the thing is, there's been so many times when I was a kid, and that's the reason why I said I should know better. I was in a situation where I was surrounded by young men that were they were latchkey kids. They're in foster care, and they were like some of the best shady friends a dude could have. Really, I mean, these guys, they were bad kids, man, but they had some good qualities in terms of being smart and being thinking outside the box, if you know what I mean. They were determined in some cases, but ultimately they were on a path to self-destruction, and ultimately they were bad role models. They were just their bad qualities made them very dangerous to be around, and that's what I notice about with women. It's even though you may have a good time with a person, and you may travel with a woman and she's all over you and you love her and you care about her, you have to understand that no matter what you do, you can never turn her, you can never do enough to make her love you, to make her care about you, to make her see you as the person that you know you are. And the reason why this is because it's not about you. I mean, it's about them. To give you an example, and I'm going to use a sports metaphor, and I might be rambling here a little bit, but let's say that you're on a baseball team, and on every team, when you play sports, there's always a guy um, that's really good, just really talented, just knows, he just has the basic acumen to be like the best baseball player. And you know that if he just keeps on practicing, listening to the coach, and doing what he needs to do, he's going to progress until basically he can make it into the pros. I mean, he's that good. But the problem is, a lot of times you'll have these guys that have talent, but they'll be shady friends, or they'll have these shady characteristics to where they'll blame everyone else for their shortcomings. They won't listen to coach. They don't go to practice. They're on that path to self-destruction. And there's been many of coach over the years in college and the professional leagues that they try to take these guys under their wing and self-sacrifice themselves for these guys. They go to bat for these guys, and then ultimately these same guys with these shady characteristics, these guys that are so talented, they turn on the very people that try to help them, and they take those people down as well. They take the coaches down. They take some of the staff down. Some of the people in the head office, the players around them. They take those guys down as well. They affect everyone in their life negatively, because no matter how much work a coach, players can put into the person, that person has to come to the realization that they need to change and they need to be a better person. But the problem with shady people is, and this is my mistake, I was one of those people that always thought the person could change. The problem with shady people is, shady friends, they never change. They never change. And that's what men are hoping for when they're dealing with women. They're hoping that this woman who you have such a good time with, that you love and cherish so much, that ultimately she will change. And the reality is, the woman will never change. It's just not going to happen. And once you realize that about the woman, once you realize that it's not about you, it's not about what you're doing for the woman, it's about how the woman views herself, and how the woman, if she wants to change, she can change herself. But the reality is, the woman's never going to change. Just like that baseball player I spoke about earlier. Well, what happened with this guy, generally 9 times out of 10, actually, let's say 10 times out of 10, he'll continue not listening to people, destroying the relationships around him. And then one day you'll go into Starbucks and you'll see the dude behind the counter fixing mixed coffee drinks. All because the guy didn't want to listen, he didn't want to go to practice, he didn't want to do the right thing. And the person who puts all that effort into that type of person, he's probably going to end up making drinks right beside him. Because you can't change a person who's not going to change. And it's time to accept that the women, they're just not going to change. They're never going to do it. They're too blinded by their own narcissism, by their own greed. They're too blinded by wanting that new Mercedes Benz, wanting the new clothes. They're too blinded by that. They're stuck on this path of self-destruction, and then they start to like the path of self-destruction. And anything that deviates from that path, even though it'll bring them love and happiness long term, they go away from it. Because all they know is materialism. All they know is self-love. All they know is how to get over on people. I remember, for me, And it's still hard to accept this. You know, I was traveling around the world. I was like, well, maybe if I just learn this Kama Sutra technique, that'll be enough. Maybe if I just dress the right way, that'll be enough. Maybe if I just have a certain circle of friends, that'll be enough. Maybe if I just use the right game. Maybe if I'm alpha. Maybe if I'm more confident, that'll keep her around. That will make her adjust her attitude. But that's not reality. The reality is she has all the potential in the world. She's beautiful, she's smart, she's elegant. But she's shady. She's a shady friend. A vulture, a leech, a freeloader. And no matter how hard you want her to be a good friend, a friend that's going to be there for you when your mom dies, when your dad dies, when you lose your business, she's not going to be that person. Because as a shady friend, she's only there when the times are good. She's only there when you get that promotion, which means that you can work harder to make more money to buy her more stuff. She's only there when you're about to buy that new house in the Hamptons. You know, she's only there for you when you're about to take that expensive vacation to France. In her mind, she didn't sign up for the bad times. She didn't sign up to be committed to you, to be your soulmate. No, she didn't sign up for that. That's too hard. She signed up for all the easy times. And that's the mistake that men make. That's the mistake that I make. It's hard for me to get over that. Because at some points I'm like, yeah, I know that, you know, the women are the shady friends, and I know this. I mean, for 30 years now, I mean, I should know better, but then something triggers in me sometimes, and I'm thinking, you know, maybe I can change this one. Maybe I can convince this one that you know, maybe if I tell her that, you know, she's beautiful and she has so much potential, just like those coaches do with those athletes with a lot of potential. Maybe if I can just foster the good qualities in her and try to help her, push her in a certain direction, that she'll listen to me, she'll go in that direction, and we'll have a good relationship. But that only works with people who are willing to do the right thing. And the women, they're not willing to do it. And there's a lot of shady people, both women and men, that are not willing to go the extra mile and be that better person. So I'm gonna quit this video, but just, you know, I just want to say it one more time just to reiterate, you know, don't put your time and effort into that woman, because she's always the shady friend, and you cannot make a shady friend a real friend, a real partner in life. You just can't do it. Because they themselves, they can't be that person. But if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Like, subscribe, share, watch other MGTOW channels. Support other MGTOW channels. And I'll talk to you later. This is the Experienced Optimist.